guys. Today we have Chris Weiher with us on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
So, Chris Weiher is a video producer with over 20 years of experience in the industry. Chris's company, Clever Creative, has created B2B animations, sales presentations, and commercials seen by millions, and now works with business owners to help them create their own videos. And he only cares about the results. He wants to see you go and you be driven. So, go and tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get to where you are today?
Sure. So I started my digital video journey after college, and that was a little while ago now. But basically, I wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to make movies and stuff like that. My dad was a butcher, and so I wrote and directed a feature-length film, having never made any film before,
Whoa.
and shot it in the 100-year-old butcher shop.
How cool.
Yeah. So it was a massive undertaking. They say making a film is like going to war. It is basically so many logistics that you have to figure out and people to organize and all these different things. Everything goes wrong. You have to like improvise and figure out another solution on the fly. So that was my film school basically. And doing that, this was like the early 2000s. So it was not the world we have today. You had to buy a very expensive camera. You had to buy a very expensive computer. Basically
Right.
invested in all this gear through the process of making it. And by the time I was done and I started screening it, I was talking to people coming out of film schools and realized like I had as much experience as they did practically or more. So I was like, maybe I could work in this professionally. So I started making videos and working for freelancing and working for wedding company, and then worked as an editor, and then worked as a producer, and then I started my own company like 11 years ago now, and have just been enjoying the creative process, since.
That's amazing. You go to college and sometimes you come out and you're like, people know as much as I do without going to college. I'm big on, unless your career needs college, don't go to college. You can learn so much without college.
I've heard at any rate that it's the next big bubble. Like there was the housing bubble,
Yep.
and now there's the school bubble. It is valuable, but for the price that some people have to pay to do it,
Yes.
the value's not always there.
Well, speaking of value, what is the value of video for businesses today? We talk specifically with realtors, and video can be really valuable in that aspect.
I would go so far as to say that video is now imperative to any business's success in many, many cases. And the reason for that is AI is going to disrupt a lot of things. It's going to be much easier for companies to create and test ads. So ads are going to go like through the roof as far as like competition goes, because AI is going to be able to learn what ads perform better and automatically create more ads. So advertising in general is going to go crazy in the next few years. Everything's going to be affected by this.
Yes.
The one thing that is going to be very, very hard to replicate is your personal touch, your personal brand. Who is the person behind your company? Having a good personal brand, nothing does it better than video. Because people get to see and feel who you are.
Yes.
You don't have to tell them. You just are there, and you're talking about what you know, and you're talking about your expertise. People connect with that.
You're using more of your senses in viewing a video than reading something. Yeah, it draws you in.
Exactly. In my perspective, I really say it's a must at this point, and it's really not something that you can say, I'd love to do it. You really should try doing it now, because it's only going to get harder as things continue to change.
Absolutely. And so many people think, oh, videos have to be crazy hard. It has to take hours to do. If someone was wanting to get into doing videos, how do they get started? Is it going to cost an arm and a leg, or can you start out more basic?
That's the great part about it now, is that it has become something that you can start to do for free. Like I tell people, like if you just want to DIY it, you can totally do that. And you can record your first 10 videos in an hour. Basically, what I say is get out your phone. If you have a selfie stick, I just happen to have one here that like is also a tripod, right?
Nice.
And set it up and set it on your desk and and start answering questions that you get all the time. Start answering FAQs. Say, here's what I tell people, if it's a realtor, here's what I tell people if they're a first-time home buyer. Rattle that information off.
Yes.
Here's how I work with lenders. Here's my philosophy on buying a house. All these different things. So yeah, you can do it for free basically, and then
Awesome.
post it if you like it, and chances are people will respond to it and you'll get some reactions. And I found 4 years ago when I started really getting into making content, like you really don't know what's going to work and you're really not going to get your best ideas until you actually put something out.
Yes.
And then go, okay, that felt right for me and it got a good reaction, so I'm going to maybe do more stuff like that.
It is trial and error. The most frustrating thing is when you've worked really hard on a video and you put it out and you get nothing. But then you work on a video for 10 minutes and it goes viral and it's just like, what is going on here? But I like to think of, even those videos that don't go well, like you're using those as practice for yourself. Because I feel like video is definitely an art, something you have to exercise and learn how to do well.
Yes, and I say it's a skill and it's a talent. Some people are just naturally talented, right? Like they can just get on, they can set up the phone, they can just talk, and it's just perfect, and they got it in one take and they're done. For other people, it's a skill, but it is a skill that you can learn and you can practice and you can get better.
Definitely.
And I've had clients that when they first started, they felt uncomfortable. They didn't want to be doing it. They're like, oh, this is weird. And now they can just rattle them off. It's like, let's think of a topic, just talk about this particular area of your business, and they just go. It's interesting seeing people at different levels and working with them to say, okay, try this tactic, like try this kind of a thing.
And it's crazy how much video can grow you as a person. Doing video podcast, I'll go back and watch it and realize in conversation, I use the word like way too often. And you can start to tailor that. So then when you're talking to customers, you sound more, cohesive. It runs smoother. And so it's not just awesome to have a video, but it's honestly training for public speaking, which is necessary in most jobs.
Yes, I totally 100% agree. Video seen on camera without an interviewer, I think, is the public speaking skill. What public speaking was 20 years ago.
Yes.
It's like, if you want to rise up in business, you must learn how to public speak. Now, you really need to learn how to be able to talk on a video without having anyone there so that you can send that to a client. You can send that to an employee. You can post it online. It's such a valuable skill. And to some extent, with the interaction of these AIs, I'm really fascinated with what's going on there. Like, we're going to have AI going on, so you're going to have to be able to talk to an AI chatbot, is going to be your next coworker. So you might as well get started with that.
No, very, very true. And one thing I love about videos, especially when it comes to realtors, is realtors have a lot of dead time while they're waiting for a client to show up, and you can shoot such cool video in 10 minutes if you have the house to yourself or the property to yourself, and it doesn't have to take long. You can shoot it looks great, put it together, and you have a social media post right then. But it would have taken much more time if you're having to, in my opinion, when you go get the photos and have to write intense copy on it, versus you can do a video and a short caption and you have content there that's people are going to stop and look at. And they're much more likely to do that than reading a 4-paragraph social media post instead. We all know that social media can be overwhelming. You think it takes so much time. You look at all these amazing creators who are doing insane viral posts and think, how can I ever measure up to them? The good thing is, you don't have to. Your point for being on social media is probably to earn money. You want to increase your sales, you want to gain more clients so that you can have more free time to pour into your clients, to pour into your family. Digital Journey can help you with that. We have a group coaching program targeted specifically for people who are overwhelmed with social media. It's really not as complicated as you think. We can teach you how to spend 15 minutes or less a day on social media so that you can gain more clients and you can up your sales. So if you want to learn more, you can go to digital-journey.net, and we'd love to help you out. Now, back to the episode.
The advantages of a realtor is that they're in different locations all the time.
Yes.
They're driving. Be careful driving in videotapes, but they're driving somewhere. You can do something from your car once you've parked. You can do it in front of the house. You can shoot something in the house. You can do a tour of the house. You can do something by the pool. Like, you have all these different things that you're doing. You're staging the house. You're doing repairs. There's so many things that you're out in the world that is interesting visually that you can kind of capitalize on from a video perspective.
Very true. Very true. You had one of my clients, they were going to a house showing and a log fell down in the middle of the road. So they did a quick video while they were moving the log saying, this is what we do for our clients, just small stuff like that. And it didn't take them long. They put it together and it did great. Just showing that personal side, that day-to-day aspects of it. It's great.
Yes, and that's really what people want now, is that they want it to come from you. They don't want this polished, professional, perfect thing. They want to know what's hard about your job, what's easy, what's fun, what's the challenges, all that stuff.
Right, definitely that personal side there. So how much content does a business person need to put out to actually drive results?
I tend to see people go two ways in creating content, especially with video. They either try it like once, put it out there, and it doesn't get views, and they're like, well, that didn't work. Or they go crazy and they're like, I'm going to do a post a day, every day for a year. And it's like, that's way overkill as far as like what you need to do. So everybody's recipe is different, but generally I really recommend doing one video a week.
Okay.
And oftentimes you can record all 4 in one setting. Maybe if you have a different shirt, you just get it, put it on or whatever. Or you decide, I'm going to do 2 in one setting. And then when I'm out this week, at this house, I'm going to do a video there, and I'm going to do one at this networking event. And then you've got all your videos for the month. I think one a week is a really good recipe. Putting it out in a regular schedule is a good thing for your network, because they always know when to expect yours is going to show up, so they can kind of be ready, prep themselves to support you. And they're like, I always know it Thursdays at 3:30. This is when his video gets posted. I'm going to keep an eye out for it, comment or like whatever. So that's my personal recipe for most people. But honestly, anything works. And I do see people putting out 2 videos a week, 5 videos a week, and whatever. But for most of my clients, that's what we recommend, and that's what I do.
And I love it when you only put up maybe 1 or 2, because then it leaves the audience wanting more and they're not overwhelmed. It's not like, oh my goodness, every time I go onto Instagram, this lady has posted a video. And you can make sure your videos are better quality because you're not having to produce things every day. That is eventually going to get redundant, and people are going to be like, I don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah, and they tune you out. Tune you out. That's, I think, the hard part for folks is that when they get started creating videos or creating content for their businesses, they get excited, right? Because for the first couple, people are like, oh my gosh, I saw you in a video and you were talking about this, and da 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 da. They get this huge boost, and then there's going to be a dip because we're so trained to be not satisfied. Like, we're happy when we get something for the first time, and then the second time, by the third time, like, seen it, boring.
Exactly.
So, like, you have to constantly be energizing yourself to like think of like new content, what's fun. But yeah, I think once a week is manageable for most people who are running a business, because you got a lot of other things to do.
Right. And unless you're a content creator, which most of my audience is not, you don't want to be spending your whole time on that. If you're like you and me, we like making videos, but there are some people that are just like, no. And so 1 a week makes it much less stressful and overwhelming.
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I learned a lot. I know my listeners did too. We're all really honing in on video in this field, so it's exciting to get to know a little bit more. Where can we find you if we want to reach out to you or hear more about what you do?
Sure. I would say LinkedIn is probably the best place. That's where I post most of our content. So you can search for me by my first and last name, Chris, C-H-R-S, Weiher, W-E-I-H-E-R, on LinkedIn. And I'm always happy to connect with people and talk, chat, all that good stuff.
That's amazing. And we'll have all of that linked down below. Chris, thank you so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Kaylee. It was awesome being on. Appreciate it.